So hi guys, how you guys doing? This is Hump Day lesson day. I forget what episode it is, but I would like to do a lesson with you guys, or for you guys, or with you guys, whatever. So I don't know. Let's just chill and do a lesson. I don't know. I did some takes of Stairway to Heaven. Very intense for me to get all the words right, and then you know, alone is a challenge. And then I realized, after the first two takes, I realized that I had switched two of the lyrics around, and so that was wrong the whole time. And then I kept forgetting a certain couple of the lyrics. That was wrong several of the times. And sometimes I'd play the outro 6-7 times instead of 8, because you should play even numbers. It's not good to play an outro 7 times and then end it. So there's that. Made little mistakes. Then I just took a break and did my third take. And I thought it was good enough. You know, I remembered all the lyrics. I got the orders right, the order of the lyrics right. All the lyrics were there. The solo, somebody said they didn't like it, but I tried to make that solo actually have heart. So maybe the other approach of not trying to have heart was better. You know, who's to say that? Who's to say? I mean, you know, that's possible too, I guess. But that's what was going on from my point of view, at least. But I enjoyed it. I usually, once I do 3 takes of something, I either quit or just replace one. I think having 3 is enough of any one thing for any given time. And then I did a retake also of Led Zeppelin, what do you call it? Good Times, Bad Times, and Black Dog, electrically. I tried another version of that. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And so let's just do a lesson here. So yeah, okay. So I learn a lot from learning songs, and even you know, things like Jimmy Page. And I've learned a lot from Jimmy Page's songs. If you know, where I'm not even trying to learn anything, because it's like on a simple level, but yet I turn around, next thing you know, I've learned something. I think that I learned a lot about pentatonics from one of Jimmie's things. I forget which one it was exactly, but it was like I learned that if you take a pentatonic scale, like let's say an F sharp minor pentatonic, that can be also played as just F sharp along all the frets, right? But that's the same notes as if you play this on B, if you play these notes, which has a flat. So you'd be playing everything with a flat. So I guess you'd play. So going up a fourth in the same scale pentatonically gives you a flat. Which is interesting, because if you do it diatonically, going up a fourth gives you a sharp. So, and that's interesting to me, because if instead of doing a pentatonic, I do, let's say, an F sharp Dorian, and I play that on B, you get a B mixolydian. That's a sharp. Up a fourth using diatonic scales is a sharp. Going up a fourth with pentatonics is a flat. So that means that in pentatonics, if you want to play the same thing up a fourth, you have to sharp the note to get a pentatonic up a fourth. If you move a pentatonic up a fourth, you have to sharp a note, because if you play the same pentatonic as down there, you get a flat. So to play a pentatonic on the new position up a fourth, you have to do a sharp. Therefore, up a fourth on the circle of fifths, which would be down up a fourth or on the circle of fifths down a fifth, would actually be the sharp direction for pentatonics. Whereas in diatonics, if I start with Dorian on F sharp, since F sharp starting on B would be a mixolydian, if I wanted to be Dorian, I'd have to do a flat. So I have to up a fourth, which is down a fifth on the circle of fifths for diatonics, is a flat, because I'm flatting from mixolydian to Dorian. But in pentatonics, if I go down a fourth, down up a fourth, or down a fifth, I'm actually sharpening it because it's a flat if I don't. So that means that the circle of fifths goes sharps in one direction for diatonic, and but then sharps the other direction for pentatonic. And I like that duality. I learned that first from Jimmy Page. Something he was doing. Maybe it was I don't remember exactly what it was, but I saw what he was doing. And of course, if we start on a pentatonic, F sharp minor pentatonic, and I go up a fifth, I'm going to do a sharp. Okay, so that would be a sharp if I play F sharp minor pentatonic on the C sharp level fret. I get a sharp. Oh, sorry. It's a sharp like this. I got the wrong note for the sharp. Like this. No, sorry. Like that. So, therefore, if I wanted to do a minor pentatonic up a fifth in pentatonics, I would have to go do a flat. So, up a fifth in pentatonics is a flat. So, up a fifth, pentatonic, flat. But in diatonic, if I'm starting on F sharp Dorian, and I do a C sharp position, I'm going to do a C sharp Aeolian, which has a flat. So to do a Dorian on a C sharp would be a sharp. So up a fifth diatonically is a sharp. If you want to do another one on that up a fifth, and then of course pentatonically it's a flat. So up a fifth diatonic is sharp, but up a fifth pentatonic is flat. Down a fifth diatonically is flat, but down a fifth pentatonically is sharp. So the sharps and flats relationships between pentatonic and diatonics are antithesis of each other, opposite directions on the circle of fifths. What's funny is that theory classes only teach you the diatonic, and they don't even go into this stuff about the pentatonic, and I learned that from listening to Jimmy Page. I wish I could say exactly what it was that taught me that, but I just looking at one of his solos, and that's what I saw. I think he was like doing it might have been like in Good Times, Bad Times. Something like that. Might have where he was a C sharp. I don't know. It was something he did though. And I think that's interesting. And then another thing I learned from Jimmy Page today, doing Black Dog, I learned all three ways that a diminished seventh chord or arpeggio can be treated along with the root. I already knew two of them, but the third one I got today from Jimmy Page. Let me explain. So if I'm on A is my root note, and I play a G sharp diminished seventh chord arpeggio. So if it's a G sharp diminished seventh against an A, if an A is the tonic. It's a leading tone diminished seventh implies the tonic harmonic minor or harmonic major if you really want to stretch it. So if you're in harmonic minor, you can play a diminished seventh on the G sharp which is the leading tone, and it gives you the feeling of a dominant type dissonant dominant 5 progression before it goes to the consonant 1 minor resolution. So it might be something like. Before you go to the. Then the G sharp diminished 7th, then to the A minor. And that's the one. That's since there's 4 of those. That's there's only 2 other. That's 1/3. That's 1/3 of the possible. It's all just symmetrical. So, they're you get 4 for the price of 1. So, there's only 2 others to consider out of the 12 notes, because if you do 4 notes and they're all symmetrical, there's only 8 notes left, and there's only 2 sets of 4 left to do. And those other 2 are if you do a diminished 7th on the root and a diminished 7th a half step above the root. And those 2, along with the first one, 4, 4, and 4, make 12, which is all the possibilities that you have. So I already knew that you can do a diminished 7th. Come on. On the leading tone, and then go to the tonic, which is usually minor. You could do major 2. But it's one of the 2. And now, before I go to the next thing I'm going to do, this guitar is tuned to D. This is tuned to D, and I don't like it. I think it's too loose. So I'm going to show you how I tune. Before I go to the next 2, the next 2 are going to be that there's a diminished 7th on the root and diminished 7th a half step above the root. But I don't like how this guitar is tuned. It's too loose. So what I'm going to do for you guys and show you how I tune, and then I'll get back to this lesson. So I'm going to unlock this. I'm going to tune it to E flat rather than D, and then this one I can do either way because I just broke the strings on one of them. So it's like this. That's an E. So I'm going to go. Turning up a half step. I no longer believe in tuning in D. It's too low. It's too low. It's just too much slack. I don't like it. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't done this lesson, though, so you guys taught me that. By having me do this lesson, I learned that I don't like tuning in to D. It's a rough tune. Then I lock the nuts with the nut. 1, 2, 3. And then I tune with the fine tuner. Better. That's better. That's a G sharp diminished seventh, and then to an A minor. That's a leading tone diminished seventh. And the tonic can be major too. Should make it an A harmonic major scale. But then the next way that the next way to do it is if you move the diminished scale up a half step to be on the root, and that's what I learned from Jimmy Page today. That's a blues thing, if you think about it, because if I play it on the root, I have a Dorian mode. I have all the notes are. I got a minor third. That's it. That's in Dorian, and in modern pentatonic, and in blues scale. I got the root. I got the major six. That's in Dorian, and it's in Dorian. Okay. Then I got the flat five. That's in the blues scale, and then I got the minor third. So those four notes. I had the minor third up here too. Are found in a mix in a Dorian blues scale. Dorian blues scale being a scale that has a Dorian mode plus a blue note, or a Dorian mode plus a flat five, which would be. Sorry. And that makes it a blues lick. So you can play a diminished seventh right on the root to get a bluesy sound. It's part of with the one. It's just it's a blues lick. And what's neat about that, Jimmy Page does it in Black Dog when he goes. Very bluesy, and I like the way you can go from there, which is one thing of the blues, to the four chord, which would be, or to the one chord, actually to the Mixolydian chord, which is this. Mixolydian, think dominant seventh arpeggio. So you can go. And Randy Rhoads does it greatly in the cadenza to Suicide Solution. He goes something like this. He goes. That's perfect. It's diminished on the root, an A, and then that's a dominant seventh arpeggio where he slides. I think that's so cool. And it's all blues in that case. You know, you're playing the one chord you're playing the diminished seventh chord on the one, almost like a one chord. No, but actually, to be more correct, it's actually like a four chord, really, because the four chord in A blues, the four chord would be D dominant seventh. But D dominant seventh, if you play it, make it a D dominant seven flat 9, it gives you an F sharp dominant seventh, and that's the same as the diminished seventh on the root on the tonic, but it's considered to be on the F sharp, which is the major sixth, which makes it actually a four chord. Or can be played as part of part of the four chord, and then when you go like this, you're going to the one chord, So you can play 4 to 1. So actually, even though it's the diminished seventh chord is played on the 1 note, it's actually part of a 4 chord in blues. And then the 1 mixolydian or 1 dominant seventh is the 1 chord. So beautiful. I like it. I love it. Now the third and last possibility is you can play a diminished seventh chord a half step above the root you're on. So if you're on A, you can play an A sharp diminished seventh. And that usually means you're playing an altered dominant chord that's on the root. You're playing in a mixolydian, altered mixolydian scale. It's a really jazzy thing. So if you're playing an A sharp diminished seventh, it'd be part of an A sharp. It would be part of an A dominant seventh chord. With a flat 9, maybe like this. Or a dissonant version of a dominant seventh chord. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's right. Wait, the 2. No, the 1. One. Yeah, you could say rather than call it a sharp 1 diminished seventh, you could call it a flat 7 diminished seventh. It's really on the flat 7, which is the G note in the key of, and if you're an A, that the A becomes an A. A becomes an A dominant 7 flat 9, but the root of the diminished seventh in that case is G, the flat 7. So it's basically a dominant chord with a diminished seventh on the flat 7, which makes it just simply a dominant 7 flat 9. More of a dominant feel. Those are the 3 ways of looking at a diminished seventh chord based on a root in each of the 3 possibilities. Because if it's symmetrical, you have 4 possibilities. You take up 4 notes of the 12 on each of the 3, which makes all 12 notes. Because 4 times 3 is 12. You get all 12 notes. Those are the only possibilities, in other words. And I kind of finalized the thought that the one on the root was a 4 chord in the blues today with learning Black Dog from Led Zeppelin. That's on the root, half step above the root. Half step below the root, which is the leading tone triad of the harmonic minor scale. So I got that together in my head today. That's the classical way. Blues way. And half step above. Dissonant dominant 7th chord way to play it. So you have classical music on the half step below, blues on the root, and jazz on the half step above. So it's interesting. You get the three different styles, kind of music. Even all the styles, except maybe country's mentioned, because you have classical, blues, and jazz mentioned, and the only one not mentioned is country, which I don't like anyway. And that's the three ways of playing the diminished seventh over the root. So there's a pattern there. There's logic there somewhere. If you figure it out, let me know, or maybe it's already there. It's just it's logic, Anyway, the third thing I like to talk about, and this is the third thing I'm talking about, and I may just stop. This will be the last thing I talk about, but I want to talk about this subject. And this lesson is mastering the harmonic minor scale. I finally have gotten my head around the harmonic minor scale, believe it or not. And I want to express how that makes me play differently, or how it makes me play, period. So, when you're playing in a scale, you should know the structure of the scale, so wherever you are, you can know where you are. So if I'm in A harmonic minor, I want to be able to go. That's the root. Then I want to know if I go like this, I'm going. You know where you are anytime. It's not easy to do, but getting your head around isn't good, because then you have that sound you can pick. Let's say I want to go to F sharp harmonic minor. Knowing that. Or B harmonic minor. Notice I don't have to think a lot. I can go anywhere I want around the neck and up and down the neck and side to side, just knowing where I'm at because I understand the scale structure. How about A harmonic minor? That's not easy, but I have it now. It's good to know the structure of the scale. It's whole step, half step, whole step, half step, augment step, half step. That's an E harmonic minor. And it's really cool to not ignore anything, but one of them not to ignore is the harmonic minor scale. Don't ignore it. That's A harmonic minor. Here's C sharp harmonic minor. I didn't have to think about that. I just did it. G harmonic minor. And know all 12 keys easily. How about, I can do it. That's good to know. How about one key but go up and down the neck? I did goof. Let's see, I'm sure to do that better. Oh, I did goof. Let's try it again. Wait a second here. Try it again. That's better. So you goof, but you just keep going and try again. That's pretty much right. All 7 positions. just knowing that. And I know you mess up once in a while, but if you know what you're doing when you mess up, it's no big deal. You just know, oh, I shouldn't do that. Know what you're doing. And it seems to me the harmonic minor scale is weird in guitar learning ship, because you either do it all the time like Yngwie, or you don't do it at all like everybody else. And I don't want to be either of those extremes. I want to do it, but not only do it like Yngwie. I don't want to only do it like Yngwie does, but I don't want to not do it like Jimmy Page and Eddie Van Halen and even Steve Vai and a few other people. Eric Johnson don't usually do that. But then Yngwie always does it. I don't like either extreme. I like to do it, but not only do it all the time. That's better. Let's see if I'm still tuned. Tuned to this other guitar. Pretty much tuned. So anyway, the last thing, and of course doing that with any of the scales too, not just harmonic minor, but major scale and minor pentatonic and blues. Most people either start with or only do major scale and minor pentatonic, and then when it comes to harmonic minor, they go, huh? But I like to know all three. That's the three main tonalities in Western tonal music. Major scale, harmonic minor scale, minor pentatonic / blues scale. Blues, major, and minor. So there's others, and there's lots, and there's tons, but those are the main ones. Major scale, harmonic minor scale, minor pentatonic, and blues. Those are the minor pentatonic and blues kind of go together because they're just the same, except one has an extra note. And harmonic minor is one of the other three, and then major scale is one of the other three. Now, that's most of the lesson. I just want to ramble a little bit now. I noticed people people say all kinds of stuff about me, and then it's not even true in the beginning. But then when it becomes out to be not true, they don't apologize to me. They just maybe stop saying it. Like Biz, you used to say that I had a wig. You were like really adamant about that like 2 years ago, and I don't, but I never heard like an apology from you. You just went on to other things or stopped saying it. But all that shit you gave me about having a wig wasn't true. And then there's people that say I do tab. Well, I've done a lot of things that show that I would have a very hard time doing tab for some of the things I've done. But I don't do tab, but I don't hear anybody apologizing for saying that about me. They just maybe don't say it as much. So people are lots more quick to criticize than they are to apologize for having criticized. It's just human nature maybe, but try to be a good person, haters. Own it when you're wrong. Otherwise, or be a dick. I don't know, your choice, I guess. Or saying that I can't tune, I am tone deaf. Well, then how did I just now tune the guitar in front of you guys? I didn't have a tuner. I don't have a tuner on in this whole room. I just tuned to a pitch. This guitar over here is tuned to E, so I went up to F and tuned that E to F, because that would make it this E and E flat, and that's how I tuned a half step below that guitar just now by ear. And I've done songs they're even piano songs and shit that would be very hard to find in guitar tab, and I don't hear you guys apologizing for, oh, maybe we were wrong about Jimmy, you just don't say it, or whatever, you just drop it like you think you never said it. But I remember you saying it and you never apologized, and there's that. But whatever. Love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.